It was just the strangest thing, and as we say in Jewish, things are beshared. Uh, I was homesick, and I got a call from a girlfriend, and then she says, "Oh, I didn't mean to call you." And I said, "Oh, but I'm glad you did because I won't be at Mahjong today. Don't look for me. But I'm really bummed. I have nothing good to read." She said, "I just downloaded a book called Rena's Promise, and I understand I can share it on Kindle. I will share it with you and just send it back to me when you're done." So I got into bed with my Kindle and started reading, and then got to a point where these two sisters were sent to Humana to work because conditions were so bad in Poland. The girls were being raped, and apparently the mother felt they'd be safer. They sent these girls to work either as nursemaids or housekeepers, and I see it's Humana. So, of course, I yelled to Lou, "Oh my God, Lou, this is a story about two sisters that go to Humana." And he looked at it, and we were both surprised. I continued reading. I couldn't put the book down.
What they said is that they're going to a place within Slovakia, a place called Poprad, which was not too far from our town. So they had this selection process where they would start, let's say, in this case, with Adelka's case, was where the oldest daughter from each family had to go to the selected camp, where they would intern these individuals. And nobody really knew where they were going. Of course, later we found that they kept them then temporarily, and then they took them from there into Auschwitz. But for everybody else, our knowledge was that one person from each family, in this case, it was the oldest daughter in each family. So at first it would have been Adelska's sister,
Right.
my cousin Dutsi, who got sick. And Adelka didn't want her sick sister to go because she was worried about her, not being able to withstand on her own because of her illness. So she said, "I'm going to take her place."
Okay.
This always happens.
When you talk about Rena being online and seeing in front of her the most beautiful girl from Humana, who had the most beautiful red hair, and that was Adelka, and how Rena was shocked that she was put on the line to go to the gas chamber because she was in good physical condition. She could have worked. But Rena felt because she was arrogant, she approached the Nazis with her head held high, with a bit of defiance, that was the reason she was selected. And then you go on in the book to tell, Rena tells how righteous she was, how she helped those that were weaker than her get on the platform for the train to be sent to the gas chamber. And of course, I was broken up. Lou and I could not believe it. And we always knew that Dutsi's sister died in Auschwitz. We didn't know this particular situation, how she died at the selection. And then we immediately emailed you, made contact, and spoke to the rest of the family. Dutsi was not alive at the time that we contacted Uri, I think. She had already passed away.
I think she had just died a few months before. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's what you're telling me.
and that's when we started emailing, and that's when I put you in contact with the rest of the family.
Right.
That's the notion, that
Yeah.
she stood out too much.
Yeah.
And I think her character, was such that would also convey or communicate that she was special or she was different.
Yeah.
Then she would not become submissive. It's it's like I'm reminded now of some of the issues that are being presented through Islam, that Islam means submit. It doesn't mean peace, it means submission. And I think to myself that this is part of what the Nazis were doing, is that they insisted that we all submit to our fate. And very few, stood up and said, we're not going to take this. And luckily I was one of those people whose parents, said that we're going to fight by trying to hide and stand up and try and survive and not submit, in effect, to the tyranny of those who are trying to make us into some kind of animals rather than human beings who deserve to live as anybody else. So I think that she would symbolically represent our family in that way. I think many of our people, in our family have that nature, and have stood out that way. And two of my cousins survived that way, in Auschwitz, that they weren't willing to die, and they just kept on trying to continue to try and survive. They were in Auschwitz, but the others unfortunately did not.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can totally just take a chill there for a second and.
Okay.
This always happens. I wasn't supposed to do that. I really thank you for doing all this. No amount of words can make up for the work that people like you do to keep the memory of all those who didn't make it alive. And we're sort of reaching the journey that's eventually not going to end, and we have to have people like you keep the events alive, people can remember. And that's very important for me and all of us who have survived. So I want to especially thank you for that.